The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is losing a record number of its membership.
And young women, please understand that if you dress immodestly, you are magnifying this problem by becoming pornography.
We know of youth who have jeopardized their spiritual growth by separating themselves from church teachings, such as those who are expressing little desire to be married or to have children.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. This morning, while coming back from my run, I saw a young woman come out of the apartment wearing a white top, dark bottoms, because it's still nighttime. Even with the lights, it's difficult to see detail, color. And I could tell she was a woman, especially with going over the tracks, which is why it caught my attention. She had her hair in a ponytail, and she had thick, curly hair. It was all bouncing up and down as she was going across the tracks. So yeah, it caught my eye. And then I see, as I'm now passing by her location, she gets into a parked car across the street at the motel, at the exit, ready to take off towards the airport or catch the I-80 to head to Nevada. Because if they're going to go downtown, why didn't he just meet her on our side of the street? So yes, this is very curiously interesting, because even the situation for her to know of his existence and to run out with her backpack across the street to get into that car, they still could have done the same thing by doing a U-turn at the light. You know, is the driver that impatient to wait for her across the street, for her to put her life in danger running across the tracks and across traffic both ways, to not wait for her on this side, as lots of people do for other people, whether it be for work or whatever else is going on. So yeah, it was very suspicious activity. And knowing of what goes on here in Utah, it's concerning suspicious activity. Knowing what goes on in this location of the neighborhood that I have put a stop to. You're welcome, Salt Lake City. Has me deeply concerned. But in the state of Utah, nobody can file a missing persons report for 24 hours. At which time, you've now lost that person forever. Unless they're completely mentally retarded as a kidnapper and bring them back to the scene of the crime wearing obvious differences in clothes that stand out, like white robes, walking the streets of Salt Lake City with the kidnap victim that everybody knows to look for. Everybody knows I'm talking about Brian David Mitchell. All he had to do was stay there in Southern California and keep her in the back tent. And they could have stayed there forever. What a dumbass. So yeah, this changes people's lives forever. Simple little act leads on a course for the rest of their lives. The girl this morning, I don't know what the hell was going on with that, why they did the way they did things. It could have been done better, it could have been done safer. Why are nobody thinking smart on that? I don't know. to wait for a couple of days to find out if ABC 4 News Utah is going to be posting the disappearance of the young woman. I'm going to go, oh my hell. I just covered this in a video the other morning. There's nothing that can be done about it because they're gone to the airport, which unlikely. or the I-80 to Nevada. They will be gone within a few hours, isn't it? Doesn't take that long to get to Nevada. So hopefully nothing's going on. It was just stupid people doing stupid things and not thinking about consequences. But when you're doing a forensic investigation of a kidnapping or a child abduction that got lured online to meet somebody, every detail, every evidence matters. And it is sad and pathetic that our Utah police are incapable of knowing how to do this. In 1979, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints finished the publication of the Bible with the new footnotes. The Bible dictionary and topical guide kind of had to wait until they finished the triple, because there's some referencing to the triple, right? It's Bible dictionary. No, I don't see Doctrine. Oh, no, there is Doctrine and Covenants in Aaron in the Bible dictionary. So yeah, they had to wait for the triple combination to be completed as well. Let me get back to Revelation chapter 12. All right, Lynette, where are you? There you are. It's a light blue rather than white. White pants. Pat Benatar hair. See, I only knew her and Curtis. The others were in another ward. All of them went to Corona High. Wayne Mills obviously didn't make the picture. Only us goody-goodies. Jumping ahead. And so in 1981, they complete the triple combination. Bruce R. McConkie and M. Russell Ballard were involved as apostles in the project. And then there were some 70s, and then some CES instructors, whether in seminary or an institute, that assisted. For the Old Testament, you will notice that there are HEBs in few places in the footnotes. Avraham Gileadi was one of them. They were supposed to do it by two so that they share. Don't want one person doing it all. And then there are supposed to be two for the Greek and the New Testament, GR. And so when you see, like the translation of Israel You know the living prophet of Jesus is a fraud when he doesn't know how to use the rocket hat. And uses the IE in place of the HEB that Avraham Gileadi put in. Bruce R. McConkie said no. So yes, Bruce R. McConkie ain't perfect either, and he ain't that smart. But he's smarter than the rest of them that were involved in the project. So like I keep telling you, for a homework assignment, you can tell which passages in Isaiah that Bruce R. McConkie footnoted. Just start at the beginning, chapter 1, go through all of the footnotes, and it won't take you too many chapters until you go, what the hell? And then as you keep going, oh, okay, that's better. And then, what the hell? Yep. Sharing. Don't want one person doing it all. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be the first. Yep. That was my education. In the scientific theory development process. That's what our teacher told us. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be the first. And there was a pattern that a man makes his greatest discovery, interpretation, accomplishment in life before he reaches 26 years old. And so I made it by 1 month. I was so stressed. I'm not going to make it. I'm going to be a loser. I'm going to be good for nothing. Yep, February 24th, 1997. 1 month to go, and then I'm a loser. Deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. Jumping ahead. So, they roll out the presses in 1982, because they finish it by the end of 1981. That's when the copyright is. And so in 1982, they're getting the production printed. President Kimball then says, stop the presses! Throw away all of the Book of Mormon. It's our keystone. What are you doing? He gives the order to add the subtitle, Another Testament of Jesus Christ. And then they resume printing. So in 1983, now that the scriptures are now in quad form, all completed, the President Kimball, in their meeting with the CES leader, says we need to redo the manuals for the seminary and institute programs. And so throughout the rest of 2023 to get it ready for the 2024 fall seminary and institute classes for Old Testament. They worked on the first manual. And originally there were 2 sets. So apparently they couldn't get it all done before the fall semester. And got the first set done, and then the second set was ready for the spring semester. Because there's the 2 volumes. I still remember. Nowadays they've condensed them into 1 and there's more missing information. But back in my day, that's what they had. And so I'm the very first class. I had turned 14. I'm now a deacon. Teacher. Way back when, at the beginning of the year. And so, yes, we go to our church building, which is our stake center, across the street from Corona High. And I would only see Lynette for the 45 minutes of class for Sunday school. And then she'd go off to whatever young women's, that changes the name, Beehives, My Maids, Laurels, I think it was back in those days. And there had to be one other for the 4 years. So I didn't get to see much of her. In seminary, I was usually sleeping, learning by osmosis. Rarely did she sit with me, probably because the first time she sat next to me, that was the last time she sat next to me. And back in those days, if you were allowed to choose your seat, you usually marked your territory, sitting in the same place week after week. Sometimes if you didn't like that position, you found another one the next week, and so on, or the next day, or whatever it was. Sometimes when new people try to find a seat and they sit in the wrong seat, problems ensue. The teacher has to say, "There are no assigned seating." Nonetheless, Mormon Crips and Bloods duking it out. So, 14, being a teacher, starting with the Old Testament. We have scripture masteries to focus on selected scriptures and how to use those with the footnotes. And I have witnessed decades later that people turn the footnotes into canon, that it is the will and mind of God and cannot be changed or altered. And I just laugh at them. Because like I said, go through the footnotes of Isaiah. Hilarious. And I try to tell people of this process, and I just, who are you to tell me what to believe? All right. Go your own way. Go your own And so the next year, as I would then be 15, going on 16. I am 15, going on 16. 32, 40. Best SNL skit ever. And yeah, perfect. Getting 30 and 40-year-olds playing the role of teen girls. Just like in the 40s and 50s in Hollywood. Oh my God. You know, in the black and white days, I guess it's easier to get away with. And so, this now is my second year for the New Testament. And so again, going over the footnotes. But the book of Revelation has always been last for a reason. And they purposely make too many lessons so that you never get to it. The kids have to keep reading on their own to learn that information from Revelation. It was 8th grade when I'd moved to Corona. We'd moved to Corona, and thus went to that church where at the corner of Corona High used to be, the building was for the born-again Christians. And Tom Jones, as I've told you before, was the one who lived perpendicular to my street over on Farrington Drive. And he's the one who fulfilled the Book of Mormon prophecy. I hadn't gotten to that yet. A Bible, we've got a Bible, and we need no more Bible. His pastor told him about the Book of Mormon, about that passage, and said, use this on Mormons. Also tell them that they've got the inverted pentagram on the keystone of the doors of their Salt Lake Temple headquarters. No. They also have an inverted pentagram on the window above them. I saw that yesterday. I'm like, what the hell? Because the other window off to the sides don't. It's going up. What the hell's going on, Oaks? Nonetheless, windows of heaven, they're falling. And so, yeah, the picture, to skip ahead because it's not important for this video, was for my junior year. And thus the stash, the glasses, the attempt at growing long hair. Shaved not too long thereafter for my senior year. I just, it's a pain to shave and it's a pain to have it. My struggles. And so that was for that 86, 87 class year, when Benson came out in the October conference about the Book of Mormon. And so the teachers were told worldwide to get the students to read their Book of Mormon and then notify the teacher that they'd read the Book of Mormon from cover to cover, because that was the Book of Mormon year. And then get a photo taken with a note saying, "We read our Book of Mormon, President Benson." And thus there I am standing behind Lynette Hymas, who is secretly thinking in her head, I need to shave that mustache off of Travis. She would never tell me. Why do women keep secrets? Talk with me. Tell me what you're thinking at night while you're sleeping. Tell me what you dream. In my dreams, it's still the same. Your love is strong, it still remains. Yeah. You can tell which generation I grew up in. Why didn't you tell me, girl? Here I am crushing on her, devastated that she won't sit next to me anymore in seminary. And all the while, she wanted to shave my mustache. Come into my bedroom to shave my mustache. Tying me down to my bed to shave my mustache. I'm not really into that. It still hadn't gotten popular yet in the world. And I'm not going to be into it because of Beth. Ain't going to happen. Yep. Pure, wholesome, white. By day. Black leather by night. I can see that. Hell is for children. Oh my God. So now she's happily married for 50 years, 30 years, almost 40, with 15 kids, right? And if her husband is watching, he's probably going, "Oh my God, how did he know?" Yep, it got leaked. Can't tell your girlfriends. Girlfriends blab. It gets around. Oh my God. And I think it was my mother that told me. Yeah, my mother. What the hell? She's talking to my mother? God. You can't trust my mother. She blabs like a sieve. Oh, dear God. So, yes. After my birthday, at the end of 86, or at the end of the New Testament year, in 86, which is around May, probably in May. Because I know school systems here in Utah are different timing than what they were in California. And it corresponded with school, obviously. But, yeah, that would have been when we would have gotten taught about Revelation chapter 12 and the footnotes. So, hold on. As I panic at the disco. Still got this old one here. Hello? Do what I say when I say it. You're a machine. So Benson took over. Oh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He takes over 10th of November, 1985. So it's not until the April conference when the Solemn Assembly is had and is to the youth of the noble birthright. I was held in reserve in the premortal council in heaven as one of the great and noble ones who wasn't a fence sitter, to come down to earth at this time. And then he would come out and they get through the his October conference not only was about the Book of Mormon, but about how in 3 more decades Jesus is coming. So I'm being held in reserve to be the royal army of Jesus. And then he would tell us 3 decades later, Jesus is coming to start the war. I'm going to be a soldier for Jesus to murder people. Take back America from the heathen godless ones. And, yeah. So that was his death. So the eclipses were for Kimball on the 12th of November, 1985, which was a total solar eclipse. 2 days after, dude? Or 2 days before, actually. Yeah. 2 days before. Wow. Because Kimball died on the 5th of November, 1985. And so it was seven days later when the total solar eclipse occurred. And Benson was officially put in, unofficially, on the 10th of November, 1985. Interesting. So the lunar eclipse was also a total, 28th of October. So that was before. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, the week before. 7 and 7. Oh my God. That's hilarious. is what we're getting to, guys. This is what we're getting to. And so I had just become a priest in March. The top rank for the Aaronic priesthood, with the keys of the ministering of angels, or the gifts and powers of the ministering of angels. Keys of John the Baptist. Gotta get it correct. And so I've had dreams before. The church won't teach us that the ministering of angels are visions and dreams. You'd have to do that by running the scripture test, going over the scriptures. They aren't going to put it in the footnotes for you. You're going to have to do a lot of extra credit. As yes, I was a naughty boy, studying the scriptures with the method that they taught me. Because I want to know the rest of the scriptures. I don't want to just know this stuff and be done with it. The rest of these guys, yeah, they didn't even want to learn the original ones. They were forced to go there. Curtis, for example, his facial expression was typical. And the other guy, I think even both of them were jocks, but again, Corona. I was in the boundaries, residential boundaries for Norco High School, but Corona for church, until I came back from Rick's to go on my mission, and then all of a sudden I'm in the Norco ward, and I'm like, who are these people? And it's for Mother's Day, and the bishop's already upset with me because I'm disturbing the Mother's Day sacrament. They put me last, and it was just supposed to be a minute because they really didn't want me. And I really didn't want to be up there either. Nonetheless. So, to put it in chronological order, New Testament finishes up. They don't want to talk about Revelation chapter 12. I turn 16. I become a priest so that I can now break and bless the bread, sacrament table, do bigger slave labor work. The deacons and teachers are too wimpy to do. Anna Faris, that's her name. Because it's like the Hollywood actress, but not. Yeah. Huh. I don't know if any of you have heard my wedding reception down in Southern California, where Ryan Shumway had Anna Faris doing lap dances at our wedding ceremony as he was the DJ. She was in our ward, but her dad had been excommunicated, and so because of his daughter that he had full custody of, no woman in the picture, mother in the picture, my dad, as the 70, was assigned to him, and around this time the 70s go the way of the dodo bird too, so my dad could have been a high priest also, who was then assigned. So whenever the 70s were dissolved, if it was before, then my dad was a high priest. If it was before it was dissolved, then my dad was a 70. Nonetheless. And so, yeah, he asked me to come with him to go home teaching to him. Didn't bother to tell me that he had a daughter. So I'm saying, nah, no thank you. And so my dad had to get Todd. Todd will say yes to anything. He's obedient. Your career field was brought up in the news last night. Actually, it was Jasmine. Jasmine brought you up. Hilarious. Hilarious. There's a reason why. We're all building to it here. Keep enduring. It's so hard. I want to scream. I want to bang my head. I'm in hell. When are you going to get to the point? This is the point. I have to redesign your whole brains from the falsehoods that the church has taught you. I can't tell you that, because then you're going to go, I'm not going to be re-educated. So I got to keep it a secret and use stealth. So, turn 16, become a priest. I've had dreams before. Not Oaks. He was a couple years before. When I was a teacher. Benson becomes president in the Solemn Assembly. And Youth of the Noble Birthright. Metallica had just come out with Master of Puppets. Benson gets up and says, don't listen to it. Music with its beaten tone from Packer's speech that was put in Kimball's Miracle of Forgiveness. Everybody keeps saying that, oh yeah, when I read it I felt so guilty for my sins. And then by the end of the book I'm so relieved. Yeah, I was forced to read it too. I wasn't relieved at the end of the book. I was still trying to figure out what some of the words were that he listed as sins. And the ones that I did find in the dictionary, I'm like, what the hell? Who does this? Not going there. Even though I set it up for it. Nonetheless. And so the summer of '86, I had my big dreams. There in June. Summer of '86. Whoa. Well, summer '69 was when I got conceived. Those two dreams, I wanted to know how to interpret my dreams, especially after the first one. This was the one, who dares invade my temple? Parents in wheelchairs being dragged out by security. The woman doesn't want to go with me across the street. Ta-da! See? Just stick with me and you'll get it eventually. And so I wanted to know how to interpret my dream. It caused such a massive impact in my life, pivoting it from that point on. You know, the one that I had back in Placentia, California, having watched Land of the Lost, and so in my dreams, I'm going to school, and I see on the playground these dinosaurs from Land of the Lost that are supposed to be vegetarians, vegans, herbivores. Although there was the T-Rex that did show up. Yeah. Because he's in that show too. But they were chasing my family all over the playground. So I've had dreams before. Dream warrior. He's the only nightmare I have still only had to this day. You know, I've had other, like the dream I just had. You know, it was very troubling and disturbing for me all that day, as I told you in the video that I did. But no, Freddy Krueger was the only one I actually feared for my life upon waking up. In the dream and waking up. That was the only nightmare. Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger. Yep, I was a naughty boy when I was able to rent videos at the video store behind the 7-Eleven down the street from Auburn Jail and the road that takes me to Norco High School. I had to get my own, because if I did it on my dad's card, then my dad would know that I'm renting the movies. Nonetheless. And and so I obtain a dream interpretation book, several of them, but weeded it down to the one that closely matched what I kind of suspected from the interpretation. Dream interpretation books are all crap. Just put that out there right now so that you stop it. Don't go any further. I am the dream master. You want to know your dreams, you come to me. Because I will tell you, these other people have one fixed meaning per symbol. They are telling you how to interpret your dream. They're telling you what to think, how to feel, what to believe, and therefore how to act. It's the same thing with fortune tellers and soothsayers and crystal ball gazers, astrologers, astrotheologists, etc., etc. It's all crap. Psychology uses these techniques. All crap. The religions use these tactics. All crap. It's a brainwashing to control your behavior. And it's all crap. And the publications galore. You can have sex with any woman, even if she's married. Buy my book now. And for just $19.99, you can also get this set of Ginsu knives. It cuts a tomato! The tomato is no longer a fruit. It is now is no longer a vegetable. It's now called a fruit. The owners of Ginsu knives will not be sued and held liable for the tomato being called a fruit now. And hypnosis was coming out. People were getting hypnotized. And Die Hard, Terminator, and Lethal Weapon were all mocking to severity how psychology is all a quack job. Obviously, the Terminator, he's so real. Put that psycho in his place. And so I still struggled to figure out how to interpret the dream. When I had it right there in my scriptures that the church newly published, the Joseph Smith translation of Revelation chapter 12. There was my answer on how to interpret correctly my dream. Because I am, as a Mormon, immersed in the scriptures. I find my emulation of character patterned after Joseph Smith's words. That's what you don't like about my personality, people. Yep, Elijah versus the priest of Baal, Jesus in Matthew 23, and Joseph Smith, my role models. The church made me. And then they tried to murder me for what they made. Exactly. The answer that I was looking for was right there the whole time. But because they cut it off from the lessons, I didn't know about it. And I didn't get to that because it's at the end. So, next. Do the dreams? Probably. So when I have these dreams, did one yesterday for you, it is Revelation chapter 12 that's going through my mind on how to do it, to interpret it. That's why I talk about it in the video yesterday. And if I don't bring up Revelation chapter 12, you need to know it as a prerequisite. And so when 7 terrorists, 7 nukes at an airport, it's actually the one right over here, because it was Utah. The female angel, messenger, is the one who's telling my mom, and I'm overhearing it, about what happened. And she's not naked in this dream. And so yes, I am wondering if she's telling the truth. I have to question her. But I did witness the nukes firsthand. So I know something's up. But whether or not it's her interpretation of the events, I don't know. But in connection with 7s, that obviously caught my attention. She was the one who said 7 terrorists, 7 nukes. So yes, it does bring back 9/11, as this was a 9/11 event that is taking place in my dream. It's what we're waiting for to happen. Whether it's going to be 7, I hope not. I hope there's none of it. But we're building up to it. It's out of control. Something is going to happen. And so the number 7 also has significance because it refers to the transfer of authority. That is what I've caught on to with my Hinckley dream that I had in 2008. I am being taught in my dreams. As I was trying to figure out how to interpret them. But now that I know about Revelation 12, yeah, I know what to look for. I know to look for scripture. I know to look for signs in the heavens for the calendar dates and clock times. That's what I go over with you in the video. And so the day that shall burn as an oven, yeah, Malachi, obviously. The female messenger. Seeing the day that shall burn as an oven. My parents, Todd, did a cameo role. And yeah, there was an exodus after the destruction occurred. So the Mulekites. I've been trying to warn you guys about this in video content for 10 years now, and it's not getting through. They are keeping me below the 125 per day quota, with very few days that creep up above it. YouTube, they're censoring me and silencing me. Women are gone. Women are the biggest apostates in the church. And women are gone from my channel, from viewing them, my video content. There's a lot of weirdness going on with women. You never change. So, I do these dreams for a reason, people. People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down, when you're strange. Lost boys, lost in the shadows, sail on to the night. Last year, I only had 3 dreams. I made sure Nelson knew. Strengthening Church Members Committee stalked me. Troublemaker file number 36434. And so I know to look for scriptures. I know to look for signs in the heaven. The first one was the bread dream. 4 loaves of bread in Egyptian hieroglyphs. Yes, I dream in Paleo-Hebrew and in Egyptian quite regularly. When I was deciphering or working on the research for the vocabulary of Paleo-Hebrew, my dreams were giving me translations of word combinations, letter combinations. So I'm going, wait a minute, I'm not there yet. So I wake up, write it out, and then check it and go, oh, yeah, wow, cool. I'm being taught in my brain through my dreams. And so when you know who I am, you understand why I'm authorized to control your lives. Right, Oaks? And so this was on the 10th of August. We still have 4 more days for that anniversary. But that's when they started. The next one was the flood dream. I didn't put the date in the picture, I had the 19th. So 9 days later, I have a flood dream. I find the scripture, I find the sign in the heavens. And then September 2nd into the 3rd. A cookie dream. C is for cookie, Oaks. Which are little cakes, little pieces of bread. And so, yes, the same scripture applied, which was Judges chapter 19 for this particular one. And the story applies because Revelation chapter 12 in the Joseph Smith translation. Joseph Smith explains all of this for us. This is how you do it. Seer for visions and dreams. Prophet for predictions of the future. Revelator for the calendar dates and clock times using the heavens. That's how we get them. It ain't magic witchcraft. Do you seriously not want to have calendars and clocks in your millennial Zion of the Dark Ages? I know you don't want plumbing anymore. Do you guys really know what you're leading into by pushing Christianity on everybody? Do you know the consequences? Are you not learning from history? Nonetheless, so some time goes by until the 2nd and 3rd. Nelson's birthday is just 7 and 6 days away. Seven alert. But in this process, I made the connection with Monson's death. 10:01 p.m. And I put it in pictures. Yep, you are no match for me. And Nelson is now gone the way of the dodo bird. So this year, try to warn him. He just doesn't want to listen. He gets reports from the Strengthening Church Members Committee about Travis and his videos. You're just not getting it. You've already confessed you have no authority, and you deny the gifts and powers of the Spirit of God. You know I have them. You've known I've had them the whole time when I came out and got my troublemaker file started in 1998, January 2nd. You know, Oaks. You know I have the keys of Moses. You don't claim them. Just generally, and you diminish them. Say that Peter's keys give you the right to rule the kingdom. Wrong. Peter's keys are only for preaching exactly what is written in the scriptures. And you can't even do that. You know who I am, Oaks. You know because you've confessed that you're not. And yet, here I am. Record-breaking number of dreams. Far beyond 3 for Nelson. An overwhelming number of dreams. In fact, 2 sets of 4 as of yesterday. Anybody know where 2 sets of 4 come from? No? The second vision. Do you remember the 21st night, September 1823? In the Jewish calendar, the day starts at 6 p.m. Thus, 2 sets of 4 on the 22nd of September. Joseph Smith is doing this on purpose to try to teach you something, and you all missed it. Thus, the 2 sets of 4 dreams, the 4th of the 2nd set, about the day that shall burn as an oven. What is that messenger telling Joseph Smith in his dream vision? About Malachi and the day that shall burn as an oven, and the coming of the Mormon, who is your Christ, who's going to try to save you from the great and abominable church of the devil with the inverted pentagrams on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple. Those evil-disposed and designing militant missionaries who are naughty boys. Changing the name of his church. You've had the Book of Mormon the whole time. And you never caught on that it starts off with these Jews who come to America, and then the bad people who break off from them replace them with the Great Spirit. And instead of recognizing the Christianity of it all, you turn it into literal history and claim the Jews are Christians, just like the Great Spirit evil people did in the Book of Mormon. How could you have fallen for this? So the final 4. Repeatedly trying to teach you, to warn you, to prepare you. The Exodus involves the final 4, the fall, the transfer of authority, the Exodus, the building of Zion. We're waiting for the fall. Jasmine, with her in-depth reporting, is going over the gutting of the church from within. That's not the fall, guys. The church leaders have to fall. The whole membership can leave. The church still won't fall. You're not getting it. You didn't understand the whistleblower. They don't need us anymore. And so it's only for fraud, crime, lying by omission, cooking the books, that they're still out there to try to get numbers, to try to fool you into believing that the church is still getting record-breaking numbers. And that's what they did. They lowered the age they raised the age of the young single adults to 35. Wow! Just like the Hollywood actresses that are playing the little teen girls. Wonder where they got that idea from. These old men who were teens and 20s when these Hollywood movies came out with the Hollywood actresses at 30 and 40 years of age playing teen girls. Ta-da! I did it again. So yes, I went over with you yesterday again, the final four, and added some more stuff to the list. We're waiting for this fall. So on the 29th of May, 2026, I let Oaks know, uh-oh, the dreams have started. He knows what this means. There's a reason why Irene is in hiding right now. The 9/11/2024 dream. Here we are 2 years later. Dear God. So this was the fall. You know, the burning of the temple, yeah, a fall. The second dream was the very next day. That's when I caught on. Oh, it's begun. This was a transfer dream. Thank you, Oaks. You have the opportunity, Oaks, to just sign it over. You're the incumbent. You know about the change in 2019 because you were the one that told Nelson what to do and sign. Yeah, just sign right here, Oaks, or Nelson. Sign right here. Are you sure this is what we should do? Yes, Jesus is telling me as your first counselor. Sign right here. I can get the auto pen if you make me. Okay. Well, wasn't it great that we conquered Medicaid? Let's get some ice cream. Play on the train. Aren't you glad you stuck around? So yes, I'm catching on. This is a final four dream countdown that we're doing. And so on the third one, yep, I'm looking for scriptures, I'm looking for signs in the heavens. Found them. Shocking. It was an Exodus dream. The Burt brothers, the Burt cousins, technically. with Uncle Bert. Dixie still using the name Dixie? Did Mom condemn her before she died? So, yep, 18th of June. 3 6s, Oaks. With June being the 6th month. I'm catching that now as I'm looking at it. Yeah. And see, I didn't know it was his birthday yet. Because to do a thorough research would be intense. I don't have to be the best. I just have to be the first. Oops, I did it again. So yes, Judges chapter 3 this time. Warned Oaks. I gave him so many warnings. 2 sets of 4. Oh, Oaks. All you have to do is just sign it over. That's all you gotta do. It's right there in the Articles of Incorporation. You as the incumbent, sign it over. Travis is now in charge. Travis will no longer be held liable for any of the crimes that we have committed against anybody, or the lawsuits against John Dallin, and all of the settlements that we were about to do. No, that's all you have to do. Sign it over. And it becomes a whole new organization under me. And all of your legal problems go away, since nobody's punishing you for them anyway. But nonetheless, it's for the members. It's not for you. And seriously, for Jesus, I didn't fall for it as a kid, and it pissed me off that you guys were lying to me. What do you mean I can't have food for breakfast this morning, Mommy? I'm a growing boy. Cereal is part of a balanced nutritional breakfast. Got your cookie right here. What about the cookie, Dad? That is an adorable movie. You know, George Clooney, and is it Nicole Kidman? That would be interesting if it's Nicole. Because she's next. Yeah, Nicole, victory of the people. The Zion dream. Getting to Zion is your victory, Mormons. You are now at peace, safety, and refuge, away from the great and abominable church of the devil, who's burning the entire world right now. The destruction and burning company is well underway this year. And we're being told there's still an El Nino coming. Surprise! Trump's gutted NOAA program said, nah, everything will be great this year. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here. Move along. Keep paying your taxes. Keep buying the latest project from Trump. He's now got the Trump Ginsu knives. It cuts a tomato! With his signature on every blade. Look at this great idea for you, Trump. Don't ever say I didn't try to help you. You better not. Dear God. I gave you everything for the 2020 election, And now you're revealing that you were in on it the whole time? Bleep you, Trump. Because that's what it means. If Trump's not going to listen to me, he's in on it. Right, Oaks? Not there yet. Skipping ahead. And so, yes, right before, on the 26th, 4 days later, Babylon fire would begin. 22nd of June to the 26th, the Babylon fire. And so this also was a day that shall burn as an oven, as number 4. See the patterns? I do. So the next set started on the 13th of July. The falling star of the inverted pentagram of Lucifer on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple. Nelson and his inability to translate. And then the 14th, the very next day. Yeah. 77. And month number 7. But the number 6. A version of the transfer of authority. And then the Exodus for the numbering of the saints, the book of the law. The great and noble birthright daughter, Lydia. A whole week of them, 7 days, 21st to the 28th. In the 7th month. Oh, Lydia. Lydia. It's amazing how I'm able to find an actress that fits the description of the dream. And so now, yesterday's. I've already taken it off the screen. Yep. Getting to Zion with the day that shall burn as an oven. Final 4. 2 sets of 4. And for Mormons to not even know that they're supposed to look for me is the real tragedy that the church caused. All of their efforts, claiming to be leaders of a religion, claiming to instruct them on the gospel of Jesus, doing the scripture mastery program, canceling it in 1993. We've created a monster. Retreat. Go back to spiritual witness feelings. And now Mormons with spiritual witness feelings think that they can have their own personal Jesus. They don't need organized religion now. So they don't understand what's coming. And it's going to be a slaughter. Slaughter of the lambs. In case you don't know where this all comes from. Slaughtering of the children. All because of the Joseph Smith translation, Revelation chapter 12. Teaching how to interpret dreams. So, signs in the heaven on the 5th, there at the mouth, with the dream. The lamb, whole burning on the altar. My house shall it begin, Mormons, unto those of you who professed to know me, and you do not. You have profaned and violated the temple. You have desecrated it. Thus it needs to be set in order. So, last night, thanks to Kristen, I went, oh, so I got to go back this morning and get that picture for the second of the 3 parts in the Ram constellation of the falling moon. First quarter, or actually third quarter, before it becomes a new moon, then starts with the first quarter as it grows. This is the 66.666666666 moon. The first quarter is the 6.666666666 moon. No rounding up. So, yep, last night at 9:45, 9:46, in 1 second, there it is at the belly. 3 days of darkness. I see the symbolism in connection with the scriptures, the signs in the heavens, visions, prophecies, calendar dates, and clock times. Scriptures. Send me an angel, send me an angel, right now. And so for this morning, it's there at the hind legs, where Jupiter, 8 April 2024, the third and final solar eclipse over the United States of America, forming the first and last letters of the Paleo-Hebrew script. All ties together, guys. Collect all the evidence. Do not leave it out, Jasmine. Not a girl. So, you'll also notice in the video that I did yesterday with the 2, that the first one is tied to Genesis chapter 22, verse 7. Where is the lamb for the burnt offering, Daddy? So, in the church news video that was just like a couple minutes, I snuck something in to reward people for going to it. And then after it, I then turned it into a big mega picture for you for this morning. I don't know if there's many of you in Mormondom who know, as the rest of the MAGA nation know, about Trump being the last president. From Ingersoll Lockwood, with 1900 and the last president, and his Baron Trump character for 2 other books. Those 3 segments are all interconnected. If you've been following me for the 10 years and the 10.6K videos, I have connected all of this together. You can't leave out evidence. The church tells you to. Only use what's faith promoting. Leave out all the rest. Right, Jasmine? Because when you look for patterns, look for connections, you see the bigger picture. Then you know what to look for, you know what tests to run for to see what is going on. Little by little, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with their design and postal numbers, have been exposing their plot the whole time right here in downtown Salt Lake City. I've already shown you the pictures of how that is the case. The latest update I just did the other week. Inverted pentagram. The Danites. They that come shall burn you. Willard Richards. Etc., etc. All tied back to the coming forth of the Book of Mormon by William Morgan. Wait, what? I thought Sidney Rigdon was the major author. Nope, the War of 1812 was where William Morgan heard about it. The plot to overthrow the United States of America and the saving of America by Joseph Smith Sr. and getting the Book of Mormon published in the hopes of saving America in the future. And here I am the whole time trying to warn you with the Book of Mormon, telling you it's not literal history. Joseph Smith says it's not. The Book of Mormon says it's not. Why are you still calling it literal history? Why are you still using Jesus to replace the Jews? Lots and lots of video content to put pretty pictures to overwhelm you above and beyond the overwhelming that I put in here as the brief summary. So yes, you'd have to know my prerequisites to understand this completely. Because for newbies to see this, they're like, I recognize the individual pieces, but how are you connecting this to... Oh, well, yeah, wow, huh. That's weird. But it's just a coincidence. Three confirmations in your theory testing, and you've got a fact. There's more than 3 in just this picture. And with 10.6K videos, yeah, it's an eternal law that America is being cooed in progress. The day that shall burn as an oven is upon us, Mormons. You really do not want to ignore me as you are, running away and hiding, thinking you know better than me. You do not understand the danger you're in. Can't believe I didn't make this picture last night when I meant to. I got the masculinity one, because this is what she started with. So technically the video is done. You can now go away. Jasmine clearly hates men. and that's why she's single, and that's why she's upset with men, because she's single, and it perpetuates the cycle. She doesn't understand. She needs to stop hating men, and then she'll get married. And break that cycle. Just trying to help you, girl. With her idol statue god Jesus in the background. The church has done damage. Severe damage. And she's wearing a ring on her right hand. What's up with that? Because, you know, if it's reversed on the camera, then I can understand. But no, it's the right hand where she's wearing the ring. There is no ring on her left hand. She's using the mic for, which means she's right-handed, not left-handed. Yeah, there are some things I can pick out from you doing videos, dear. Is there a crisis of men in the church? She is doing a hasty judgment of men. And this hasty judgment causes her to leave out all of the necessary evidence that would show where she's gone wrong with her conclusion. All the evidence, dear. Now, I know it's tough. When a person is victimized, they tend to be cautious and afraid of the general group that victimized her. So, for example, I recognized in myself when 2008, when the cops came and got me. You're never gonna take me alive, coppers! And the church, I found out, had ordered and paid, and I didn't even know that then at that point. But the church had ordered and paid for it to have me erased and tortured unto death. I was never supposed to see the light of day again. So when I got out, everybody was shocked and horrified and afraid that I'm now going to be a terrorist again. To resume translation of Paleo-Hebrew as the mighty terrorist that I am. So yes, it goes both ways with hasty judgments. Concluding and reaffirming your conclusions by lying by omission, removing evidence that doesn't fit your conclusion. And what happened with the little boy band you were a part of? Why didn't any of them want to marry you? You were the female singer in an all band of males. And you couldn't get any of them to marry you? And so, yes, this is where her core problem lies. So, on to the next video that she did. For the first time, women outnumber men among young adults leaving religion. Why are women leaving the church at higher rates? She doesn't make the connection. She is not using the scientific methodology for logical Socratic methodology and the development of theories to be tested for confirmation, and 3 of them establishes facts. Truth. Church won't teach her. She didn't go into the field. She doesn't know. She's being groomed by the church. And you see this grooming in these video segments. There's just 3 of them that I need to show you. Because she is having struggles with her faith and talking about them in video content. But you can see how she's been groomed, as she doesn't understand why her group of girls, because I think she's still under 29, aren't you, dear? Or are you now past your I saw that video segment when he said it. I understood the context of what he was trying to do, but it was the wrong audience to say it. But I am horrified that Nicole Wallace did not get Woman of the Year last year, when at 50 or over 50 years of age, she had another baby. She has got my attention for life now. She has got my respect. That was awesome. So anyway, see, now the kid is getting into the fun years where they're able to talk, where they're able to know what they want to do and are able to do it now, no longer helpless, having to be cared for like an invalid. Getting into the fun years, but she doesn't know because she's not applying the techniques to get the answers. She just wants to talk about it. And you can tell she's struggling and judging at the same time. And she's judging men at the same time, because the men who refuse to marry her are leaving the church. So you can see this unspoken directly conflict in her brain with her being a single woman. She does not know that she can go out and get to know men. Because the church, still to this day apparently, teaches women that no, you got to stay home and wait for the man to call you to marry you. Because if you go and talk to the man, you're being a whore. Heaven forbid you should talk to the guy that you have a crush on to make sure that that crush is legitimate. Because that's what I found out, is that the girls that I had a crush on, if I was able to talk with them, you know, I was able to find out, oh my God, what am I doing? My dream girl just bursted my bubble. I'm just going to keep her as a dream girl then. Never get to know her. And so, yes, I see the Mormon culture that she's been groomed with. I see her thinking process. I see her faith crisis of being a single woman in a church that demands she be breeding. I see her struggle. With her hatred of men, blaming them for what she was groomed by the church to cause. She can go out and meet guys. Now, where do you want to meet guys? Do you want to go to a bar to meet drunks? Because you're going to get what you ask for. What kind of guy do you want to be married to? And it's the same thing for guys. What kind of girl do you want to be married to? Where do you want to pick up chicks? Is it just for sex? Because if it's a Mormon, no. You cannot work for the weekend. No. And then, where does a guy like me go? Nowhere. I've got nobody. Not on the apostate side, nor the Mormon side, for sure. And all the women are gone from my channel. Because you've got the apostate women who say, he's promoting the church. What the hell is wrong with him? And the Mormon women are saying he's an apostate. What the hell is wrong with him? And in the past, women have tried to change me. To control me. No. Taking away agency is not the best way. But I see Lucifer's plan of happiness in Jasmine. She's got to be re-educated before she can raise babies. That's why guys are running away from you, dear. We instinctively know when a woman's going to take away our agency. It's called the ball and chain. Men know that Lucifer's plan of happiness is not great for them unless they are the priesthood authorities who are controlling other people. Then it works great. So, her new thing from Family Studies, aka BYU. Right? Communio, whatever the hell that is in Family Studies. A global flourishing study. God. So yeah, this is a sociologist that she mentions, a sociological study. And this is where sociology has been infiltrated by psychology and religion together to destroy it. Right, Todd? Because there's a whole bunch of evidence left out. And they didn't even bother to care to obtain that evidence. Their study was already concluded before they went in, because they're pushing for people to get back to church. And so it comes off as not even Mormon. It's about religion generally. And so that also is a major faux pas, a small sampling. Because each religion is different. Each religion of Christianity is different. Then they're trying to say in their conclusion that parental weekly church attendance in childhood is best for the child. And they're treating the parents as equal. Women are different than men, even in the marriage relationship. And so are the kids, being male or female. This assumes that there's both a mother and a father in the family. And yet, I would even educatedly guess that there are more broken households in America now than the traditional family values. That is not factored into this either. And so this is botched. None of this can be trusted. And yet here Jasmine is using it to promote her conclusion that men suck. Ta-da! And I just, when it's the father only, who doesn't attend church, I just, it's all screwed up. None of this is accurate. But that's what she's trying to say, is that when the father is active, praying, reading, believing, and of high status in the leadership, or religion is of greater importance, the child does better. And the child, or actually it's both. They don't have the child's on the side, I guess. The likelihood of the child is when both. Again, they screwed it all up. There are so many detailed factors to plug into this equation that to do this is unprofessional, as she's getting it from a professional in sociology, apparently. Right, Todd? This is what Todd has to present to the living prophets of Jesus. And that's why it's hilarious when Oakes makes the mistakes that he makes based on my brother's information that he gave him. They've been watching my video content. They know what's really going on. Because why women are leaving, you've got to factor in Alyssa Grenfell. You got to plug her into the equation. You cannot dismiss Alyssa. The power of the lioness on the young girls. The other woman who was doing video content for young girls, yeah, her day is gone. She hasn't been doing videos as much lately. She's getting older. Mission's separating her from her life with family and children responsibilities. She got popular when she did her reaction and response to the South Park episode of Joseph Smith. And I keep picking on her for the one video about preparing for conference with inverted pentagrams on the thumbnail picture. But during her day, when people were watching her, girls were active, going on missions, getting married, going to church, going to the temple, getting careers, being successful women, and then Alyssa Grimfell. And the girls shift to her instead. But in case any of you missed Alyssa Grimfell's video content where she says, I get my information from John Dallin, and if you've never watched a John Dallin video about church history from that John Turner, and you don't know who he is, he's a Christian. A Christian doing research on Mormonism. Huh? I'm sure he'll be fair and unbiased. He's got to defend his Christian faith, so he has to leave evidence out. Because if he does the full research required for Joseph Smith, the Book of Mormon, and the founding of the church in the early days, he has to acknowledge that Mormonism is anti-Christian. For which he'd then go, oh crap, I got my PhD from a fraud who taught me wrong. Right, John Dallin? So thus why John Dallin left out the key piece of evidence that would have helped him win his case, because he's upset with me. Because he's a psychologist. So, some other quick stuff. Muslim Brotherhood are here in America. We brought them over. They claimed they needed asylum from their patriarchal abusers. Us dumb Westerners do not understand the Muslim Brotherhood. You can't just claim that certain areas of Muslim Brotherhood are terrorists, but others are not. They're all Islam. They're all Islam. Do your research on Islam and its origins. Just like you should have done with Christianity. Just like you should have done with Mormonism. Just like you should have done with American history. Just like you should have done with the Illuminati. Just as you should have traced them in America, to see that the one branch became the Danites of the Church of Brigham, the others became the Confederates in the South. You know them by their super sacred secret sign. Shh, don't tell. The inverting. And so the Muslim Brotherhood are all terrorists, but our government only selects certain geographical locations as being terrorists. But they too are in America. Fox News had a big frenzied breaking news story about how the new commies in America are funding and being funded by the Muslim Brotherhood. Who are being funded by CARE. It's an acronym. Has to do with an Islamic group here in America. Who fund Islamists in America for basic necessities because they come over on asylum, and so they need assistance to get settled in as sleeper cells, and to fund political and legal situations as well. So yes, the new Islamic progressives, the Democrat socialists, yeah, they're getting funded by CARE to help them in their campaign, to help them with any legal lawsuits, to help them when Trump locks them up, to deport them back to the bleep hole country where they didn't come from, etc., etc. So CARE is funding terrorism. CARE is a terrorist organization as well. Texas and Florida have already designated CARE as a terrorist group. Trump, I don't know why he hasn't joined with that, but he's building up the Islamic Progressive Party, specifically for his big show for the midterms. He's already warned us, you ain't gonna win. Because he's going to make sure that MAGA wins. We already know this, it's not a surprise. Shouldn't be a shock to the Antifa press. He's the president. He's already said, you will not win. You shall not pass. So, if MAGA wins, the Islamic progressives are going to be furious and start a war. If they win, Trump will go in and with his ICE and feds to say, wait a minute, the election's been rigged. You will not win. Trump doesn't listen to Congress anyway, but to go through another impeachment, it's a waste of time. You've got to control the Senate by a great majority in order to indict him on the impeachment. Yes, Trump already holds the record. Why are you wanting to add to it and not take him down? So be aware of this, and be aware that I've been telling you the whole time because I did the research. Whenever something in the news comes out, I check for the church's involvement. Ta-da! There they are again. Yep, CARE, their official website, has a whole page dedicated to their thanks and gratitude for the greatest contributors, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, funding Islamic terrorism in America. And my government's not doing anything about it because they want them to get boosted up so that it can be a massive bloodbath come the midterms. Unless there's something of a 9/11 event coming before. Trying to warn, you're not listening, not hearing, not seeing. I see nothing. I say nothing. And the final one. Tyler Robinson, KUTV2, did it again. Tyler has to go free. Chain of custody has been violated bigly numerous times. KUTV2 has covered it. The case cannot proceed any further. Prosecutors, judge. Now, the security that UVU hired with taxpayer money from the government that therefore requires them to release the financial information because it's taxpayer money from the government. Rocky Anderson was interviewed. They're refusing to not only not put out their final report, they're also not wanting to notify the press, KUTV2, of how much they're getting paid to cover up and hide their report of security on the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And thus an inside job by the UVU security, being covered up by the people they paid. Ta-da. Plausible deniability. Beyond a reasonable doubt? No. Much reasonable doubt now. Tyler must go free. The case is botched. KUTV2 again exposed the fraud and the cover-up that's going on. All the evidence must be presented in court. Every single detail from the shot from that direction, not the what the hell. This sham must stop. But there's some heavy hitters involved in this assassination. Right, Governor Cox? Oaks. So have fun, Jasmine. You can ignore my advice if you want. I wouldn't recommend it. You know, you listen to my advice and you'll get married just like that. Or if you want, we can go on a token date and then you'll get married just like that. I'm pretty sure I probably still have that power. Dating me will scare you into being desperate to marry the next guy you see. I had a high success rate in the older singles ward. Right around when that Jessica Alba, is it? Who did the penguin panties video? It was most likely a stand-in double.